Have you ever felt like changing your habits is just this constant uphill battle against yourself? You set a goal, you've got the best intentions, but somehow you end up right back where you started. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, you are in the right place. We're gonna look at a totally different way of thinking about our habits, and we'll start with some struggles that I bet are gonna feel very, very real.
Does this just hit a little too close to home? You pick up your phone to do one specific thing, maybe reply to a text, check one email, and then poof, 20 minutes are gone. You've been scrolling endlessly, and that original reason you even unlocked your phone totally vanished. It's a universal struggle in our modern world, for sure.
Or, hey, maybe this is your struggle. You know that waking up early would give you more time, maybe a little more peace. You set all the alarms, you try to go to bed earlier, but you just end up sleeping longer, smashing that snooze button, and starting the day already feeling defeated. It's crazy how even the simplest goals can feel impossible sometimes.
And this one really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? It's the battle for consistency. You build that fragile little chain of progress. You do it for 4 days, but then you miss day 5, and suddenly all the motivation just evaporates. The entire habit just comes crashing down. So if we are all facing these same frustrations, what are we all getting wrong?
Well, for years, we've been told the answer is just more willpower, more discipline. You just gotta try harder. But if literally everyone is struggling, maybe we're fighting the wrong battle. Maybe the problem isn't you at all.
So let's just throw a different idea out there. What if your success isn't actually determined by the strength of your resolve? What if it's all about the design of the world around you? What if you could stop fighting yourself and instead become the architect of your own choices?
And this is where a really powerful concept comes into play. It's called choice architecture. It's basically the idea that our decisions are quietly guided by how options are presented to us. Think about the layout of a supermarket or the default settings on your phone. These are all designed to influence your behavior. But here's the crucial part. You can use this exact same principle to design your own life.
So how do you become a choice architect? Well, it really comes down to understanding and then learning to manipulate two invisible forces that are shaping pretty much every single action you take. And those two forces are friction and defaults. Think of friction as anything that makes a behavior harder. An extra step, a password, a physical barrier. Defaults, on the other hand, are the paths of least resistance. They're the choices that happen automatically if you do absolutely nothing. If you can master these two, you can master your habits.
Okay, to really see this in action, let's look at this fascinating real-world problem. Imagine a dangerously sharp curve on a highway where accidents are happening all the time. You've put up warning signs, flashing lights, but people are still driving way too fast. What do?
A behavioral designer came up with a genius solution that didn't involve a single new sign. As cars approach this dangerous curve, the white stripes painted on the road get progressively closer and closer together. And this simple visual trick has a wild effect on the driver's brain. As those stripes start flying by faster and faster, it creates the illusion that the car is speeding up. And what's the driver's automatic, unconscious reaction when they feel like they're accelerating? They tap the brakes. Their behavior is changed perfectly, without them even having to think about it. That right there is the power of redesigning a default in our environment.
Okay, so that was a perfect example of changing a default. Now let's talk about that other secret lever, friction. Sometimes the absolute smallest obstacle can completely derail a good habit, even for the most disciplined people you know. So check this out. This is a true story. It's about a woman who was incredibly disciplined in basically every area of her life. But for the life of her, she could not manage to drink enough water. The problem wasn't desire. It was these beautiful but really heavy glass water bottles she had at home. To take a sip, she'd have to stop what she was doing, use 2 hands to lift the bottle, or go find a glass to pour it into. Each of those tiny little extra steps was a point of friction.
And that tiny amount of friction was enough to consistently break the habit. So the solution wasn't for her to try harder or be more disciplined. Nope. It was simply getting a smaller, lighter bottle she could easily pick up and drink from with just one hand. By removing that tiny bit of friction, the good habit became almost effortless. All right, so now we have these two incredibly powerful tools, right? We can reduce friction for good habits, and we can add friction to bad habits. Let's apply this whole framework to the exact problems we started with. So that mindless phone scrolling, don't rely on willpower. Instead, let's add some friction. Your default is to just tap the app and start scrolling. So a little bit of friction, log off after each use, so you have to type your password every time. Want more friction? Delete the app from your home screen. And for the most friction,
put the phone in another room entirely. Each layer creates a pause, and that pause forces a conscious choice instead of just an automatic habit. We can use this strategy for our other goals too. You want to wake up early? Add friction to staying in bed by putting your alarm clock all the way across the room. That forces you to get up. At the same time, reduce the friction of starting your day by having something rewarding ready to go, like a great cup of coffee. Want to call your parents more? Reduce friction by habit stacking. Just link that new habit to one you already do, like making the call during your daily walk after lunch. You see, when you start to look at the world through this lens of friction and defaults, everything changes. You're no longer just a victim of your own bad habits, constantly fighting your own brain. You become a designer. You become an architect. So here is the big takeaway, the most crucial point. Stop trying to force change through sheer willpower. It's exhausting, and honestly, it's often ineffective. Instead, look at your environment. Look at the paths of least resistance in your daily life and ask yourself, are they leading you where you actually want to go? And if the answer is no, well, it's time to start building a new path. So I'll leave you with this question. Think about it. What is one small, invisible default in your life that's holding you back? Is it the placement of your phone? The snacks in your cupboard? The first app you see on your home screen? What's one tiny change you can make to your environment right now to make the future you want just a little bit easier?